iPhone 17 series, macha.
Yeah. But Apple, they are kind of really behind.
Our findings on the upcoming iPhone 17 series, they failed. I have really zero hopes regarding AI things from Apple now. iPhone 17, iPhone 17 Air, which is replacing iPhone 17 Plus, and iPhone 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max. So, iPhone 17. Yeah, it's that time of the year, another iPhone. So, yeah, today in the Aprender Podcast, we're gonna discuss or we're gonna share our findings to you guys on the upcoming iPhone 17 series and the rest of the announcement that are due on 9th of September. The day we are doing this podcast is actually 5th of September. So this episode, as a channel, so our podcast tradition, what we do is here is I'm telling this again for all the new listeners to our podcast. What we do is when there is a like significant important event, most probably about Apple, what we do is we do our own research. We dig through certain rumors and actual findings based on the evidences that certain founders share, and we are concluding a list of things that are upcoming or might be unveiled in the event prior to the actual event. We will share those information with you guys. The challenge here is if we done a bad job, we will elaborate that on a following up episode. But not like not I'm not saying like fortunately, but with our track record, we was not able to, or we didn't had to do another follow up episode because our findings and our researches regarding an upcoming event was so tight with our track record. So yeah, with that said, today in our Aprender Podcast 96th episode, me, I'm Udara, and my partner here,
Kanishka.
we were gonna share our findings on the upcoming iPhone 17 series. The importance of this event is most probably the things Apple will unveil with the new iPhone series might be copied by the other phone manufacturing vendors in upcoming years. So yeah, Kanishka, let's get right into the episode, right? Let's start with the Apple's event. So I'll do a brief introduction regarding the Apple's event, like structure of the event. So what Apple do is they share a invitation to all the journalists and all the guys in the world. They are doing this event in an in-person one, and at the same time, they will live stream the event through YouTube and through their official website. We will put those links in the description also. So in the upcoming days, like 9th of September, you guys might able to see the live stream and cross check whether we said the things that are actually accurate to the releasing things. Plan of the Apple's event are like Apple release an invitation like 7 days prior to the actual event, and after the event, they will like give hands-on experience with their new devices to the in-person attendees of that event. Most probably, we are not be able to attend in person. Most probably, the invitations are going out to all the journalists and YouTubers and etc. Yeah, that's the plan. The thing around with the Apple fans actually is like they do a real analysis on the invitation also. So this year they shared an invitation with the tagline of eavesdropping, right? Right, Macha? Eavesdropping or eavesdropping? I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Eavesdropping, right?
All dropping. All
Oh,
dropping.
dropping. Yeah, we'll put the invitation in the video. Since you talk about the video, what we do in our Aprender podcast is we release the audio podcast first. Then later we will share the video podcast. Yeah, in the video podcast, we'll drop the invitation so you guys also can check out about the invitation that we are talking about. Actually, in the invitation, you might able to see like this Apple logo, which is colored in like blue, green, and not green, actually blue, orange and yellow, more like a thermal image of the Apple logo. Actually, it's mostly a blue one, and there's a tagline called dropping, I think, or eavesdropping. I'm not sure how to pronounce it actually. So that's it for the invitation. So next, in the next steps, we are explaining the things that we found and matching them with the invitation that Apple shared. Right, Majan? So yes, let's get to the elephant in the room with the upcoming Apple event, right? iPhone 17 series, Macha.
Yeah.
Yepa.
I don't know. It's something that right now, like most of the big tech companies, they are integrating AI and bringing AI stuff and things like that. but Apple, they are kind of really behind. And most of the people, Apple users and everybody, we all are expecting some kind of a integration path or AI thing, like the next game changer, hopefully introduced by Apple, but still they haven't bought anything up. And when it comes to earlier a couple of weeks ago, I saw something that they have released a model that can it's basically like a web browser plugin or something like that, where they can do real time live captioning, or if there are any kind of something visible in the web browser real time, that model can be able to like describe it what's going on. Like I saw that kind of demonstration, but that's one of the things that close to they have released close to hopefully AI. But I'm not sure how this event is going to be focusing on, whether only just the usual crap that they show, or whether they are going to actually all dropping kind of event.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's actually a good thing that you mentioned that, Majang. Let's talk about that elephant in the room, right? So, like exactly a year ago, Apple announced their Apple Intelligence, right? So after that invitation and after after that announcement and after that promise they shared to their consumers regarding the like next generation of AI things, after 1 year we can agree on a one thing with Apple, right? They failed. They never delivered what they promised. They have a really bad reputation when it comes to AI, right? But hardware and software, except for the AI parts, they are like actually at the GOAT tier level. But when it comes to AI, they are like what I understood, Machang, they are basically clueless, right? They announce certain features before they even ready to push to production, and even after like a year also, they are, based on my findings, they are not even close to the targets they were promised to their users, right? So this is really bad. Apple was at a really bad place. But the interesting thing happened, Machang, back in the WWDC. We did episode also. They announced a feature, not like a feature, a system-wide redesign with a design element called liquid glass, right? So what happened was liquid glass was like next level. People lose the focus on Apple's bad reputation with AI. So people wanted to know how this liquid glass thing will perform on current devices. I mean, up to the latest device of 16 series, right? With the betas, I kept up with some betas and beta versions of the iOS 16, not actually 16, it's 26 now, 26. And actually, glass was performing really well. Surprisingly, I didn't see any hiccups with the performance and everything. The thing is, the specialty of this Apple event, upcoming iPhone event, actually, these are the iPhones which are designed to specifically support liquid glass, right? So basically, iPhone 16 series hardware were older than the latest software. But with iPhone 17 series, they have their top tier hardware to match their top tier software, right? So this is something that I'm really interested or looking forward to. Like I have really bad, or really not saying bad, really concerns regarding the performance with liquid glass baked iOS 26 on iPhone 16 series or older versions, because liquid glass is something like need really good GPU power from the iPhone on the basic device. So with the day-to-day task, I'm not sure whether the battery performance of the devices or the level that will perform those older iPhones. But I'm more excited about Machang 17 series, which are basically support the liquid glass things right out of the box. That's something like the first thing I'm really interested. But knowing Apple, Machang, with their track record, I'm pretty sure. I'm like really positive what they will do, they will introduce certain software features only support iPhone 17 series. They will say that the hardware is not capable to support the latest software, so that they can like drive more customers to upgrade their devices. This is like their tradition of marketing scheme, right? They do this every single year. So, Moshang, since you mentioned about AI things, I have really zero hopes regarding AI things from Apple now. But the thing is, this hardware event, it's actually I saw certain interesting things, Macha. Let's start with the iPhone 17. What Apple announced in these events are Machang prioritizing on iPhone 7. Basically, not the iPhone 17 iPhones. So they will announce the latest version of their iPhones. Then about they will announce the Apple Watch, the latest versions. AirPods, iPads. They do not announce those things in this event. Even MacBooks and everything. They are basically prioritizing on iPhones, Apple Watches, AirPods, and even some TV OS supported devices like Apple Home and everything. So let's narrow this down to iPhone. Focus on the iPhone, right? Okay, so iPhone 17 series. Maja, so what is the iPhone 16 lineup look like? What are the models that they have?
They only had the usual things, right? I I couldn't I couldn't remember actually. Like they had the iPhone 16, 16 Plus, Pro, 16 Pro Max. That's it, right?
Yeah, this year,
Usual lineup.
Maja, yeah, that's correct. This year they're planning to change this lineup, Maja. So if you think about the all the products that Apple produce currently, they have certain specific versions, right? Basic version, AR version, and a Pro version, right? So iPad has the basic iPad, iPad Air, and iPad Pro. Even AirPods has the AirPod Pro and the basic ones. When it comes to MacBooks, there are MacBook Air, and MacBook Pro, right? This year, Apple gonna introduce a iPhone Air, Macha, right? So the lineup will look like this: iPhone 17, iPhone 17 Air, which is replacing iPhone 17 Plus, and iPhone 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max. There is a rumor going on, Majang. They will rename the iPhone Pro Max to iPhone Ultra. I'm not sure that will happen this year. Most probably will happen in on like next year, I think. As well, let's talk about the iPhone Air. So Air means it should be really lighter one, right? When it comes to
Yeah.
Apple, so other Air branded products, they are lighter, not lighter in cheap on their price tag actually, but that would be right. Okay. The rumor going on, Machang, there will be iPhone 17 Air version, which is like super thin. I'm talking about like 5.5 millimeter thick. Basically,
Damn.
super slim, like half of the current iPhone 16 Pro versions, right? So what
Yeah.
they're planning to do, I'm not sure about the customers who are requesting a really light iPhone, a really slim iPhone with a really small battery. I'm not sure. I can't even think about the people that are wanting such device, right? But
Yeah.
here we go. They are rumored to be announcing iPhone 17 Air, which is like 5.5 millimeters thick, which is like really slim, and only have a one back camera. Right, this is interesting, really interesting, and a front camera also there. Also, iPhone 17 line all will support 24 megapixel front cameras, so that will really come in handy for all the content creators and selfie lovers. But the 17 AR will actually, Machang, will be really lighter and really slim and will have a really small battery. I'm not sure why
Mm.
Apple doing this.
Yeah. Udar, do you remember back in the day when iPhone 6 Plus, so something like that, got
Yeah,
released? Do you remember it got folded inside of the pocket
yeah, yeah,
because it was too thin? I'm not sure like how this is going to be any different than that.
yeah. But yeah, I'm sure Apple must have learned their lesson with the design, so they will. I'm like 75% sure that the hardware will be capable. But my question is why? Like, why such kind of a device, Macha? Like, really low on battery. As a customer, I'm asking for more battery life, Macha. So I don't mind my mobile phone being a bit thick, having a bigger battery, and having like a whole full day of battery life in it. So I'm okay with it, Macham. But I'm not sure like half the size of battery and a really slim phone, even a single back camera. I'm not sure about the customer base that are requesting this. Another special point actually, I want to see the way Apple pitch this iPhone to customers. They should tell something about this, right? This is like, of course, in a way, this is innovation. True. The based on my research, Mazan, they are putting a lithium ion battery in it, right? The current battery technology Samsung showcased, machang, it's carbon based battery, machang. It is like a battery that is slim, basically half the size of average battery, but it contains all the milliamp hours, like 5000 milliamp hours in a really slim profile that will help to a slim mobile phone, right? Those are like carbon based batteries. I'm not sure with the research papers are what the research papers are saying, much, and the data they have on those batteries are really limited, so they are not willing to take a risk with a new battery, because you might remember like Samsung had to face like a really disaster. Their mobile phones were exploding. The brand was like
Yeah.
hugely damaged back in there, right? So I'm sure these carbon-based batteries are not inside the iPhones also. I'm not sure about the customer base which are requesting this kind of a phone. But the interesting part is, Machang, I want to see the way Apple pitched this to average consumers. So we have this model. I thought like this was like a area that they can showcase that yes, we have all the technology to do a mobile phone which is really slim and have the all the performance and everything, but we are not offering this to all the customers because we are caring about our customers and we need to put a bigger battery for long lasting mobile phone. I think that's a good way to put it. Like they can do this,
Yeah.
but we're only doing this for you
Mm,
guys.
mm.
Saying that would be a really good thing, but I'm really interested about Apple's way of pitching it, Macha. Just out of curiosity, Macha, have you think of a mobile like your mobile? You take your mobile phone, you imagine like, how, what if this is really slim? Have you imagined something like that?
I don't know. Now, right now, I don't see like being my phone being so thin, how it is going to be helping me because I'm so used to the thickness of it. The thing is,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Apple, usually they don't really care about the market, right? They don't really care
yeah,
about what people wants. So they usually do whatever they want, and people buys that. This is something like that. I'm not sure, as you said, Udar, like to which market that they are trying to sell this mobile, which is
yeah,
whether it is remember there was the Apple iPhone C, right?
yeah. The plastic
uh,
one, right?
iPhone C, right? There is the something called
Yeah, yeah.
to specifically for Chinese market that they created like couple of years back. I think it got Chinese or Indian market.
Basically, they targeted the teenagers, right?
Yeah.
The whole colorful thing and plastic. It's cheaper. They
Yeah.
they they had a good run with it. Actually, I saw certain in the Reddit also certain users are still requesting that kind of design elements to Apple, so they can like show off their device in a crowded area. But I'm not sure about me. I'm talking about my experience with my requirements on a mobile phone, ideal mobile phone. Yes, Machan. So another way to put the iPhone Air in the lineup, in my opinion, Machan, let's take the current lineup like 16, 16 Plus, Pro and Pro Max, right? For like last 2 to 3 years, Apple wanted to like widen the gap between the normal iPhone, the baseline iPhone, and the Pro versions, right? They included like Pro Motion, which is 120 hertz display only to the Pro versions, Pro iPhones. Like three camera module only on the Pro versions, right? They did certain things to set those lineups apart, right? With the Plus and
Yeah.
the standard iPhone, if you're going for the normal iPhone version, standard version, then you have the difference only between like display size and the battery size. But when you take the 16 series, Machang, if you are willing to go for a Pro version, if you compare the 16 Pro and 16 Pro Max, not only the bigger display and a bigger battery, Machan, there are certain camera features are only exclusive to the Pro Max version. So, like, if you actually
Yeah.
someone is asking for the best iPhone, so you just have to ask what you mean. Define best iPhone. You want the best camera, then go for the Pro Max. If you want like a normal best performing iPhone, then you go for the 16 Pro version. But when it comes to 16 series, now there is a 17. So base model will be a hot seller in my opinion, Maja. No one will
Yeah.
wanting a slim phone with less performance, right? So I think they're targeting the higher sales volume for the 17 series, because as Apple's tradition, Machan, they are using in the base version last year's chip, right? So they don't have to put their R&D and money into like doing another chip for the 17 series base versions. So you can
Yeah.
they can what they can do is they can basically use the chip that they created for the 16 series and put a new color code and sell that. So I'm thinking about that marketing strategy, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Okay, another. Let's focus on the iPhones actually. At the upcoming iPhones, Machang, The new iPhone will be iPhone 17 Air, which is a slim profiled one and will only have one camera in the back and have a 24 megapixel front camera. Before dividing all the iPhones into certain specific features for the whole 17 lineup, machan, the rumors are falling like this. They all will have 24 megapixel front camera. So your selfies and your front facing videos will be in a higher quality. So another thing that they are doing is machan, in the last year 16 series machan, 16 Pro and Pro Maxes were built on titanium, grade 5 titanium, which is a really what do you call hardened material and a costly one. The users, as
Yeah.
current I'm a user of the 16 series, I actually don't have any significant difference when it comes to weight, but I have noticed much of it. When it comes to 15 series, 16 series was really lighter because of the building material. But much of the interesting thing is Apple now moving back to aluminium when it comes to 17 series. I'm not sure about the point why they are doing it, but the only suggestion I
Mhm.
saw, my titanium material is really hard to put a color on.
Okay.
So they can't like put the colors that they really want because it's really hard to anodize the titanium ones. Aluminum ones are really easy to put a paint coat in. So I believe Apple will put really new colors. So I'm connecting back to the Apple limitation. If you check again the Apple limitations, there are like really blue,
Mhm.
orange, yellow, and certain like highlighted colors, right? So I think iPhones will have like really good or really colorful color variations this year because all the models are being made in aluminum apart from titanium. That's another thing that will based on all the lines, Macha. And finally, this year, Apple is rumored to add 120 hertz Pro Motion feature on all the iPhones. Previously, 20 hertz refresh rate was only available for the Pro versions.
Yeah.
If you
Is it something like, is this gotta do something related to that liquid motion thing? Do you
yeah,
think that?
yes, I believe so. But if you take the market, Macha, even really basic Android mobiles are now offering 120 hertz displays. So people are asking why Apple are you taking like $700 from us and not even putting 120 hertz display. This is not something much a number based thing, right? If you take, I'm currently used to a Pro iPhone which is running on 120 hertz display, right? As soon as I pick up another iPhone which is lower on refresh rate, I notice that much. I'm not sure why it's happening to me, but I notice that much. I see the frame drops. You get my point? So
Like,
I'm really used
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah, yeah.
120 hertz displays. So if I'm moving to iPhone 17 or 18 or 19, I had to go with Pro version, Machan. Else I see the lags. I'm asking Machan, your phone is lagging, right? They say no.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
but my eye can identify the lags, Machan. If you really look into it,
yeah, yeah.
yes, true. You can set apart those things, but I think this year what they do is giving 120 hertz display to all the iPhones. It's a good thing based on the customer's demand. And the point you mentioned, the liquid, what you call liquid glass design elements will work better on 120 hertz display, right? So yeah, that is something that Apple will add to all the iPhones. Another thing that they have, like they are supposed to announce in the upcoming event, Bachang, display upgrades. They are like doing or increasing the brightness level of the display so they will have like better outdoor visibility when it comes to the iPhone display, but I think the highest brightness levels will be only added to Pro versions because that point being validated due to the price, Maja. If you are
Mm.
manufacturing a display panel with higher brightness, it will cost more, right? So you will have to put in some money for a brighter display. That's somewhat like okay kind of thing.
Yeah,
um I'm not a guy like use iPhone in the direct sunlight, so I don't need the full brightness actually. But if you're using iPhone outdoors, then this will be a good news for you guys. Um, the other thing that all the iPhones will get, Machang, yes, they will have the latest chip that Apple designed, A19 series, which will have better GPU performance to support the liquid glass and all the elements. Yes, that's on the table, and the Pro versions will get the 19 Pro chip, which will based on the 3 nanometer architecture If you are a really nerd, this is like a groundbreaking thing. Putting a 3 nanometer chip on a mobile phone is like really groundbreaking. I'm not sure the way Apple utilizing this thing. Yes, apart from that much on battery. The rumor says much iPhone 6 17 Pro versions will be thicker compared to the 16 version to support a bigger battery.
Hmm.
Might be to support extra power requirements to liquid glass or any future AI things that they are going to implement. So in this topic, Machang, I'm not sure about the AR again. It will have like half the battery, and I'm not sure how that will perform. That's a really interesting thing that I'm looking forward to in this Apple event. Apart from that, all the iPhones will have basic things like upgraded things, Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth. And the Pro versions, Majang, are rumored to have Apple built modems. What they
Oh,
do is like MacBooks M series chips, they create their in-house modem, which is equipped with the Machang iPhone SE latest version. They are based on the reviews and everything, Machan. They have really good cell reception and really good internet performance. So putting that into iPhone 17 series, a way of cost cutting for them, and another hugely in a way of improving the performance, right, of the device because they have all the architecture based on the performance and everything, so they can put in that their iconic hardware and software optimization to even modem also. That's something I really looked into. Apart from that, there's something all another thing that is really fascinating to all the consumers, Macha. They are planning to increase the price of the iPhone. Yeah. Um, the rumored prices are Macha. iPhone 17 will start from $800, which is like $50 higher. 17 AR will be $950. 17 Pro will be 1050, which is used to be 999, right?
yeah.
$50 will be higher on everything. But the thing is, Machang, in return, what they will do, Machang, all the devices will be have the base storage of 256. That's
Yeah.
also I have a theory on it. Because of
Go ahead.
all the Apple intelligence and all the models are running on device, I think they need more storage also.
Mm.
So I have noticed like Apple Intelligence, their model is requesting like 8 to 10 GB of storage. Ba? So I think that's something they have added based on their own agenda for the future proofing the device. If you think about it, Machang, going from 1 to 8 GB 16 Pro was at price at $1,000. So 1050 they are offering like 17 Pro with 256 GB. It's also something that average consumers consider regarding upgrading, right? They if you are like going to
Yeah.
1256 GB on a 16 Pro, it will cost you around $200, right? But in this case, it's only cost you around $50. So I'm not sure the way
Mm.
they pitch this. I'm really actually looking forward to the way they pitch those things, those changes. Yes, as you mentioned, Macha, sometimes they don't even address that. They might not even say on stage that like all the iPhones have 256 GB storage now. They might even skip that part. Apple being Apple.
I
Yeah, so
was
the
most of the time like some of these LLM models and AI models out there. I don't really know the exact word for it, but it's kind of hard for us for them to like do the on device processing without sending one like any data out of the device, right? So they might be focusing on some kind of tweaks, like which is specifically for Apple ecosystem. It might be iMessages and Apple Calendar, Notes, Music, all the things inside the Apple ecosystem. And they might have had some kind of tweaks for each and every application because the thing is like Apple is really concerned about privacy, and when it comes to accessing people's personal information, I'm pretty sure they will try their best to not send any data out of the device, and they will try to do the most of the processing in device. And they won't be like really magical things, but preferably some kind of user fees related things will be there, right?
yeah, I also saw Machang, since you mentioned that, I also saw that the Pro versions will have like 12 GB of RAM going from 8 GB to 12 GB. With those devices, with the hardware capabilities, I feel like Apple is like future proofing those devices to whatever they will have to face when it comes to AI and large language models and all the AI related stuff. Because they have that dent on their brand now, they fail to deliver, right? But they do. Apple is like a $2 to $3 trillion company, right? They can hire like all the biggest minds in the world to create their own models. Like for sure they have the money to do another chat GPT, right? Create another chat GPT, create another Gemini. But the thing is, they don't have time because competition is really far ahead when it comes to AI. So they have to keep up with it, else their shares will be plumbing and the users will be really disappointed, right? Because at the stage, Mahjong, I'm not this kind of a average consumer. I don't want any AI stuff on my mobile phone to do certain default things because I'm currently used to use like apps like ChatGPT and Grok to get things done. But the demo Apple showed actually back in last year really turned my head on it, Maja. Like they demo all the information having access for the Siri and they can like book a Uber and certain like next level stuff they promise. So that I wanted to try, but actually they failed to deliver, Maja. In that case, none of the competitors also able to do that kind of thing. But as
Mm.
the rumor, Machang, the problem Apple having is they have all the resources and all the money, but they don't have the time. These large language models it's not easy to train, Macha. So I found, Macha, recent models like even ChatGPT 5 and Grok and lot of things were trained on Reddit. Like Reddit earn a huge chunk of money from these companies by giving user data to them.
Mm.
Imagine like that. Those models are not training on like the research papers or the books or the
Mm.
all the published articles because number one problem is those things are intellectual properties. They just can't copy certain things or train their model with those information. But Reddit, it's public information, right? The users are consenting to post anything or give access to your data on a public forum, right? So Reddit is taking that advantage and they are selling their data to all the OpenAI, Google, and everyone, right? But when it comes to Apple, they are really keen on privacy and being private, right? But the approach now Apple taking is much, and they are approaching like the big guns of the AI world, like Perplexity, even Gemini, OpenAI, and I saw certain discussions were going on for the rumor with Anthropic, certain guys, and what they want is Apple is requesting to create a custom model, let's say custom Gemini model to power their latest Siri, but all the information that are going to, let's say for example, Apple is going to use Gemini model as their new Siri. What Apple is want, like the control of it. Like all the data of the recent users or Apple users will have on Apple devices, and Google might request those information for their advantage, right? There should be a deal, right, with Google and Apple. I think in this
Yeah.
AI era, Macha, money is not the currency. I think the user data is the currency actually, right? Google have like all the user data and they have a really good model, AI model with Gemini. But Apple want is the only Gemini model. But the problem is Gemini model is trained on free data. So the users can question like, do you actually using the private data? From what data you have trained your agents or the models? Those are the questions, right? But I think they might able to cut off some deal like having a Google team developing a model for Apple. At the same time, I saw that their software vice president is doing in-house AI team to take their time and develop a model also. At some time at the future, that Apple in-house built model will replace the Google Gemini model on Siri. The problem is that will take some time, but though there is already a product in the market that they will use it, right? I think this is the strategy for the Apple. So to cater that strategy, Machang, Apple need to have like really good hardware capabilities. I think that's the case of the latest iPhone being like 256 GB base storage and like having 12 GB of RAM. It's basically future proofing the iPhone. When it comes to compared to the rumored architecture of the processors, Machang, same last year processor, but only having like 8 to 16 more of GPU cores. So
Mm.
this is kind of like future proofing for the AI war in the iPhone sense. Yeah. So those are the rumors we found on iPhones, Machang. Really excited about those things. But actually, as you mentioned, Machang, now it's really hard to keep up with these Apple devices, right? Because the question is why, what they are bringing to the table, like what's new? Okay, right, same device, same thing. The last time I was really excited about was Vision Pro, which is like a really next level device that no one expected, right? That was a really head turning thing. But now iPhones are okay kind of a device, but I'm not sure. The way they deliver must be really spot on to convince new users, right? When it comes to the design, they mentioned that the material will be aluminum, right? And Apple being Apple Machan, they are supposed to redesign their camera bar on the back of the iPhone. Now they have like this square with three cameras and the LiDAR and the flash, right? So what they are planning to do is a
Yeah.
full visor kind of thing, being three cameras on the left side and the flasher and the LiDAR sensor on the right side. I'll put a like mock-up design on the video episode of this podcast, so you will guys will have idea. This is something that Apple do for their marketing, macha. So that way, if you're having
Mm.
like a 17 Pro from like 10 to 15 meters apart, another user will able to tell that that guy is having the latest iPhone. That is like some
Yeah.
Apple thing that they do. Yeah, apart from that, those are the rumored things for the iPhone, Machang. For normally in the September event of the iPhone event, they also announce new Apple Watches, AirPods, and all. The thing is, Machang, for this year, not much of like bigger things to Apple Watch and AirPods, I guess, right? Let's go for the Apple Watches, Macha. What's new in it?
Brighter screen.
Mm. With that,
They
yeah.
recently, they I don't know whether this is true or not. Uda, like, correct me if I'm wrong. So, Whoop
Mm.
filed a lawsuit, right,
Mm.
to do the blood pressure to
Mm.
get the blood pressure thing in their devices, right? Is it blood pressure?
As I
Yeah. I think they either won the lawsuit or even Apple was supporting or running behind them because Apple was also not able to release that feature among a lot of regions, right? So recently we got an update. I don't have Apple Watch though. It said this update releases the new blood pressure feature for all the Apple Watches, which is whether it's available.
I don't have like a full blown expertise knowledge or research based knowledge on that, but I know for sure, Machang, what the problem was, Machang, with the iPhones, sorry, Apple Watches. They are for every year they are adding like a new health feature, right? As I remember, back in Apple Watch 8 Series 8 or 9, they have introduced blood pressure feature, right?
Mm.
So the sensor basically will measure out the blood pressure. The way or the process of measuring blood pressure was like patent to another company. I'm not sure about the company's name, Masha, but it was like a
Mm.
really reputed company that was like the CEO is like a super genius person that I never heard of. Apparently, created like a really advanced way of capturing blood pressure from these heart rate sensors, Macha. What Apple did was they released this feature, and that guy quickly sued Apple, saying that they
Mm.
copied their own patent version, the patent method of capturing heart blood pressure. What happened, Machang? Apple lost that lawsuit. Basically, Apple copied that guy's feature without his consent, I think. Because of the lawsuit failure, they have to disable that feature. So basically, coming from Apollo Series 7, 8, 9, last year it was 10, and currently this year it will be 11. There were no proper blood pressure metrics in the Apple Watch, Macha. That was like a really huge branding thing they did. Like, see, our Apple Watch can even detect your blood pressure. So that feature they had to disable, right? So apparently last month they found a workaround on it. What Apple
Okay.
initially did was, if you take the Apple Watch, you can put the blood pressure, open the blood pressure app, and you can monitor the blood pressure, and all the metrics will be shown on the iPhone. Sorry, Apple Watch.
Mm.
This is the part that they have concern with the original patent, right? What they did as a workaround, Macha, they re-enable the blood pressure app. You can measure the blood pressure. All the informations will be shown on iPhone's health app. All the information will not be shown on the Apple Watch this time. What they did
Okay.
was they never acknowledged that they made a mistake. They found a workaround. But I saw even after that releasing of that workaround that The initial owners of the patent with blood pressure refiled another lawsuit regarding that even. What Woof is facing, Macha, they released their blood pressure feature, right? With MG. The thing is, if you are releasing a certain feature regarding to health, Macha, you have to get the approval or certifications from the FDA in the
Mm.
US. What FDA did was they rejected Whoop's method of detecting blood pressure without any clear clarification on why it is not correct or why it was rejected. That's why their CEO Will Ahmed took the Twitter account and blame FDA and everyone regarding they are blocking the innovation. There could be money involved in everything, but I'm not sure what happened to that. Yeah, I think as of now, blood pressure details are shown in Whoop app, but they will not be FDA certified.
Mm.
There are certain consumers really concerned about the FDA approval. So that is a blow for Whoop. Yeah, that was the whole confusion and whole scenario with blood pressure, Whoop, and Apple Watch. So circling back to this year's Apple Watch 11 features, the main one is display being a brighter. That's actually really useful, I think. If you're using like a watch, if you're using like a traditional watch, you can see the time, right? But for certain times, Machang, I have seen certain Apple Watch users, they have to like put their hand across the watch and see the time. So
Mm.
these higher brightness displays could come in handy. It's actually more of like a quality of life improvement, right? Apart from that, Machang, I don't see anything interesting going on with Apple Watch actually for the last 2 to 3 years. I was really interested that they have done some researchers or medical researchers regarding blood glucose measuring. That would be a
Mm.
game changer, right? Without even a single drop of blood, if you
Yeah.
can measure the glucose amount in it, that would be a really head turning thing. And those Apple Watches will say like hotcakes, right? But I think it's not even come closer to this year also. I think the higher brightness display and even improved battery will do for the Apple Watch 11 series. Yes, of course. They will have new colors to match new iPhones, right? Um, yeah. Uh, I think for the Ultra version, they will have the same for the same like housing, not the housing, the watch dimensions. They will have like a bigger display, I think.
Okay.
Same goes with Apple Watch Ultra. I think we'll have a brighter display and a better battery life. Even comparing to Apple Watch Ultra, Machang, I have a friend that use an Ultra. Ultra is like a really bulkier watch, kind of heavy one. So it only having like 3 days of battery life. I don't justify it because I was really interested about the wearable market. Currently, Machang, the only God tier ones were Apple Watch, right? But now I'm comparing, like I'm seeing lot of people using Amazfit. What
Yeah.
else? Garmin's watches are Machang freaking expensive now. Even
Yeah.
far expensive than Apple Watches, right?
Yeah.
But they have
Yeah.
like 2 months of battery life, even solar charging. So these things will last longer, right? Yeah, if you are someone like getting into fitness, as of or with our experience, we recommend Whoop, of course. We are biased, but if you are not willing to spend that much of money, if you want something cheaper with even better battery life, then go for like Garmin or Amazfit. I saw certain Amazfit watches are really they like their best watch is around costing around 100K. I'm not sure, but they have like really good battery life, like 2 months of battery life. It's really come in handy, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it for Apple Watches and Watch Ultra and normal Apple Watch Series 11 in the upcoming Apple event. An honorable mention, there are rumors of introducing Apple AirPods Pro third generation. The
Mm.
things I found about third generation, actually, Apple AirPods is something that I really uh, found love of because I use that thing daily. Daily. I
Yeah.
love that device because it has like a really good, what do you call, user experience when it comes to sound profile is really good. the pairing and the noise cancellations, all these things are really come in handy when it comes to average consumer who use public transport a lot. I was actually excited about the next generation of AirPods. The rumored key features are macha. Of course, they will have some kind of a better sound profile. The hardware for the hardware changes, Majang. The first thing they found, all the analysts found, Majang, the case will be a bit slimmer.
Mm.
There will be no physical button. This is not something new, Machang. Even latest basic version of AirPods, like AirPods version 4, is also does not have any physical button. So it's obvious like AirPods Pro version third generation of AirPods case will not have any button on it. Two health features will be added. That's something really interested. If you, I don't know Machang, if you have checked, but Beats have announced their Power Beats
Mm.
headsets with heart rate sensor, right?
Yeah.
So basically, Beats being Apple, basically Apple own Beats, right? So it's
Mm.
rumored that AirPods Pro third generation will be able to capture users' heart rate in addition to temperature of the skin. So this is like a bit confusing to me. Let's say you are an Apple user who has the iPhone, Apple Watch, and the latest version of AirPods. So from which device will Apple fetch the heart rate information? Let's say for single instance,
Yeah.
let's say user can argue that they are not wearing AirPods 24/7, right? So that's a good point, yes. But let's say if you are working out with your AirPods on and Apple Watch on, so what will be the device that Apple will register the heart rate information from? I'm not sure these things. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Whichever going to be accurate, right?
Yeah,
I don't know which one
uh,
is going to be accurate, whether it is going to be accurate from
yeah. I
here.
think this area is more accurate, right? But the accurate thing is based on the frequency of heart rate checking, right? That's why Whoop is the number one. Whoop is like
Yeah.
checking the heart rate for the like for a minute, like I think 200 times or something, right? It keeps checking, so it will identify a slight change in our heart rate. But for Apple Watch, I don't think that they do as frequent as a Whoop because they have to save battery life for all the other functions of the Apple Watch. So I have those suspensions. So let's say what Apple has to do about these things. I'm pretty sure someone will ask from that question from Apple, right? Let's say you're not using Apple Watch. So with what are you planning to use your AirPods with? You have to use an iPhone, right?
Mm.
So if you are into fitness, you need your heart rate information, and now you have the latest AirPods Pro and iPhone. So why you are not buying Apple Watch? So I this is like a paradox kind of a thing, right? Okay, let's see. We will talk about those things on the next episode that we do after the Apple event, upcoming Apple event, Masha. Yeah, those are the basic things that will Apple announce. Of course, there are certain like honorable mentions when it comes to Apple TV 4K that they will have like a later version or latest version with a better chip on it. Apple TV is something that I'm talking about the hardware thing is something that I have never experienced with. Like I never had the hands-on experience with that device. The current workplace have that device. I should like get hands-on experience on it. But yeah, do you have the hands-on experience with Apple TV?
Yep. Not one of the latest ones though, but I do have used it.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's basically the Apple like Apple OS on a TV
Hmm.
where we have access to the remote is really good. The remote
Hmm.
is having like the basic Apple gadgets kind of a thing,
Hmm.
and it has FaceTime and it has access to App Store, and yeah, we can watch TV, not TV though, like we can watch Netflix, Amazon Prime, and play games. That sometimes the Apple remote it works as like a physical what do you call like the gaming handle, what we call it, the joystick.
Joysticks.
Kind of. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. For the what I haven't have is much a hands-on experience, but for the all the users that are interested or not aware of the device, Apple TV, which is like a TV box kind of a thing, square thing. If you take a smart TV, Machang, currently, let's say you are taking the smart TV of LG. So after like first year, it performs well. Most smart TVs are running on Android versions, right? The basic problem with Android, Machang, when it goes like for the first year and the second year, the performance will be really degraded. those smart TVs are really badly performing, right? What Apple TV do, Machang, that physical box thing you can plug into any TV. That thing will run as a overlay. So, which is basically use your display to showcase the OS that Apple TV is running on. The advantage is, Machang, all the software features that are running on your current TV, all the physical requirements of like the processing power, the RAM, and everything are included in that box. So the your TV's only job is to display the things that Apple TV push it to. So that way, Apple TV box will have a really good overlay on your TV, which is really fast, really performing. So that way, you can watch your TVs and TV series, movies, or even listen to music, even do take FaceTime calls on a really fast face environment with Apple TV box. And the important thing, Macha, Apple TV is really cheap. That box is like around 40,000 rupees in Sri Lanka. So that basically that device has the latest iPhone's chip. That's actually if you're not aware of
Oh,
this, yeah, yeah. So that way, if you're not aware of this device, try it out. I think it would be a really good thing to try it out. Yeah. So that since you mentioned about the FaceTime thing, the only blocker or the only barrier when it comes to FaceTime currently is that Apple TV box does not have a camera in it. So if
hmm.
you are taking a FaceTime call, you have to put your mobile phone in front of you to show yourselves to the other person, right? But it is rumored that Machang in this year's Apple TV box will included a camera. So that way you can basically switch or transfer your FaceTime calls to your TV and talk with everyone. That would be handy, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all for the Apple TV thing. It's like a more of like a silent thing that evolves every year. There are certain small amount of people that really use this thing. If you know how to use this thing, like actually, if you can use your Apple TV with a pair of HomePods, you will have like a home theater like kind of a experience when it comes to sounds and everything, right? Yes. Apart from that, since we talk about the HomePods, I don't think it is rumored that they will announce the new HomePod version. I don't think that they will announce the new HomePod versions because HomePod is basically not a Bluetooth speaker or something. It's a smart speaker which is integrated into Siri. So Siri is still dumb. So there's no pointing of creating a better hardware to support a worst AI bot, right? I don't think this year Apple will announce the new HomePod, but for sure they will announce that thing only next year because they are on track for a new AI model, so that will do a really good job when it comes to speakers and everything. All that we have for the today's episode regarding the rumored things on the hardwares and everything. Announcements are pending on the next upcoming Apple event, iPhone event on September 9th. Um, certain announcement also will be made, Machang. iOS 26 public available date will be announced on that event. And of course, you can pre-order as the tradition. You are able to pre-order the next generation of iPhones on the September 9th. After like week or 2 weeks, they will start to deliver those devices to you guys. Yes, those are the rumors that we found regarding the Apple event, Macha. Anything else we meet, Miss Macha?
All right.
Okay, let's wind up this episode of Aprender Podcast. Yes, again, we are on everywhere. You guys can listen to us on Apple Podcast or Spotify Podcast, YouTube Podcast, or everywhere. We are highly active on LinkedIn, even on Twitter. But what we do is we are currently focusing on YouTube and our video format. So we will put this episode on YouTube. You guys can subscribe to our YouTube channel to gain some knowledge or learn something from the things that we are like fully aware of. Like since we both are on the tech industry, we might able to like share something new with you guys to gain some knowledge to you guys. Yes, Machan, let's conclude today's episode, right? Okay, then we'll see you guys on the coming week, even for sure after the Apple event. Yeah, so until next time.
Jaya.